What's cracking, traders? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. In today's video, we're taking a look at a great league team that helped me get quite a bit of my elo back over the GO Battle weekend. I played 5 sets with this team. Went 10-5 to start, went 5-5 afterwards, and after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to put the game down for the day. I've done enough. I'm good. So Pangoro is going to be the Pokemon that I'm featuring today because this thing, every time I put it on a team, it seems like the team does well. Pangoro is just that Pokemon for me this season, apparently. So I'm just going to keep trying to use it whenever I can. Pangoro with a Corviknight in the back, and we're going to have on the safe switch, Big Man Blastoise. I did take a little bit of inspiration from its accent today. Shoutouts to him, one of our world champions, being one of the most skilled players in the content sphere, if not the most. And we're going to get into this first game here with Shadow Dusknoir. Now, this team, I just wanted to put something around Pangoro, and I'm very comfortable with the Pangoro Corviknight core, and Blastoise just seems like a decent pick, especially right now. It's very bulky, it's spammy, it really makes sense. Now, with this first battle here, I go for the 7, throw the Night Slash, and then the opponent no shielding, I'm going to immediately switch out, and the reason why I do that is because I'm expecting them to throw right away instead of letting me get to the one more Karate Chop and get to that Night Slash. Like, they're not going to throw on good timing. So we're going to be going for a Hydro Cannon into this Credilli, which is an unfortunate thing to have out here, but at least we are able to bait this out. It's just energy for Pangoro, if anything else. I'm not really going to look to try and flip switch here, but the opponent seems to lose count and lets me get to another Hydro Cannon here, which is going to force a shield or be able to take a knockout. Opponent just drops the Credilli, and they're now in shambles. Unfortunately, this is a very poor position for the opponent to be in, and I've done that so many times when trying to figure out Blastoise. I basically would just continually forget what the counts were and would end up just being on the wrong side of it and be like, oh, I thought he's one more away from the move. No, he has to move right now. But as soon as I see their Corviknight, I know that my Corviknight's a very safe thing to bring in because the opponent's only ever going to be able to land one charge move with their Dusknoir, and then I just need to get the opponent down into either close combat range or get the shields. Like, basically, I just save 2 shields for my Pangoro at this point and look to try to bring it in and just hit close combats off and try and get rid of this Corviknight and take the game here. Air Cutter's gonna not going to do enough. Goodness, can't speak today either, apparently. And then close combat's going to do quite a bit of damage here. Probably not enough to knock out because this bird is very bulky, but we are going to be able to get to a Night Slash for the knockout and take the game. Well played to the opponent. Next game up, we got our Pangoro out on the lead against the Marowak, and it's against a member of my Discord, Jubilito. Shoutouts. Thank you for the support, man. Appreciate you. Love you so much, man. Genuinely. We have the opponent looking to go for those Bone Clubs on good timing, and we're going to be looking to do the same here, firing off this Night Slash here. As the opponent might expect it to be a close combat, but we get the boost, and that's absolutely massive. I think that Pangoro wins this matchup straight Night Slash anyway. You could correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I might be wrong. I think you just go for 2 Night Slashes, then you get to the close combat just before you get knocked out by that last Mud Slap. But anyway, we are going down to get this thing out of here. It's at this point, like, I'm just trying to get rid of it. It's not really what I would call a good matchup for really Pangoro in general, and Blastoise doesn't really appreciate it when 2 shields are up. But the opponent has a Lapras in the back. We're able to, last second, we're getting to the close combat. And you know what that means, trainers. We're going to be able to hit buttons here in this second game. I'm sorry, Jubilito, your Lapras did not deserve that treatment. We have 2 very healthy Pokemon in the back, Corviknight and Blastoise. I wasn't sure if the opponent was on Volt Switch. And so after I figured out that Pangoro actually got knocked out as quick as it did, that was when it registered that it had Bug Bite. So I can come in with my Corviknight here, and we're just going to be able to take him out here. That's going to be a good game. Well played to the opponent. All right, next game, we got Florges on the lead, and this is a bad lead. Uh-oh, I need to basically try to swap out and get switch advantage here, if at all possible. Opponent's got a Furret in the back, and I'm kind of hosed at the moment. Now, because it has Trailblaze, and even if I don't get hit with the Trailblaze, they have the ability to KO with basically 1 Trailblaze and then the Sucker Punches, and I have to hit off with 2 Hydro Cannons. So it puts the opponent in the advantageous position in this matchup. I'm going to be going for a Hydro Cannon here. I'm actually, like, trying to keep track of their energy, but as you'll find out quite shortly, I did, in fact, lose count. And so what I did here was I was like, all right, this is going to be a Trailblaze. I was hoping it was going to be a Swift, and I was going to see if I could live the Swift. Opponent goes for full sense Trailblaze. I think that they're now out of energy. I'm going to go for this farm down, and the opponent has a Swift already. So that was me also kind of making a mistake and not paying attention to energy here. I tried to be better from here on for what it's worth, but I'm going to immediately just switch into Corviknight and hope that we're going to be able to sweep with it. And the opponent has Florges, which is already a very even matchup with Corviknight here. with the Florges matchup. And then we're going to have the opponent have a Gastrodon in the back, as of course, most fairies are going to end up having a Mud Slapper of some kind in the lead. And unfortunately, Corviknight's not really going to be able to like 1v2 this team. We're basically, the only way that we're winning here is we're going to try to see if we can't get the Florges down into range of like a close combat, being able to get the knockout here. But the opponent makes a last-second charge attack, and I'm thinking this Water Pulse is going to hit harder, and apparently I either wasn't paying attention or the opponent was just baiting. But I thought that was going to be a Water Pulse from what I was counting while I was playing. So we're going to be just trying to send off as many of these Air Cutters as I can. We get attack boost, which is nice. If I could land just one more attack boosted Air Cutter, I think that I might have had a chance. But the opponent gets the Chilling Water. They're going to get the knockout. And unfortunately, Pangoro is only going to be able to fire off one close combat here. I was hoping that maybe, but no, the damage is way too much from those Fairy Winds. And now I get to see exactly how much damage it does. It does about 40%. So in case that situation ever comes back up, I know how much damage. I know how much damage that I need to get this thing down into to try and score KO. Good game to the opponent. Next game, Pangoro is sitting up against another Talon. Dude, I was like, man, really? Of all things, Talonflame. I'm going to go for one Karate Chop and swap into Blastoise. The opponent is going to swap in their own Blastoise here, and I'm going to look to go for a Skull Bash early to try and get damage or at least get my defense up. I, however, I have to remember, though, during this game, that they have Shadow Talonflame, it has energy, and Corviknight and Pangoro are both horribly bad into that matchup. So if I can, I'm actually going to try and preserve some of my Blastoise, get some energy head start on the Pangoro, see if I can't maybe land a Night Slash or two against it. That's about my best case scenario right now. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a little bit more farm. I'm going to get to a Hydro Cannon, try to get there before the opponent can get to another move. I'm getting kind of low. I just want to leave myself with a bit of energy residual here before I throw this Hydro Cannon and hope that this is going to be enough to knock out. If it's not, it's not. We're going to come in with the Pangoro and make an attempt to snipe. At this point, Pangoro is not going to be doing too much, but it is going to, however, possibly lure out that Talonflame, and hopefully Corviknight won't have to see it, because that is a much worse matchup for Corviknight than it is for Pangoro. At least Pangoro can do some damage with the Night Slashes. Opponent puts up a shield as well, and they are now out of shields. And they're going to bring in the Marowak to be able to get a snipe here, which is a very nice play by them. Important thing, though, is that Blastoise is within one rollout of a Hydro Cannon. So as long as I can leave my Blastoise with this shield, we should hopefully be able to land that Hydro Cannon into the Talonflame no matter what. And that's kind of what I'm expecting to do, especially when I see such a good matchup like this with the Kanto Marowak in the lead here. I'm going to be going for the Air Cutter right away. I just want to get rid of this thing. I want to swap. I want to bring in my Blastoise. That's exactly what I'm going to look to do here. We're going to go for the Air Cutter, and then the Blastoise has to come in when the Talonflame's in. We can't like bring it in and try and get the farm down, because the Mud Slap would do a lot of damage, and I wouldn't want to risk things going wrong in that regard. But we're going to be able to hit him with a Hydro Cannon. That's going to knock it out and take the game. Well played. Also, I fidgeted with my music and volumes and things. Let me know if the volume is good, just right, too loud, quiet. Let me know. Scizor in the next game. I know that Pangoro does not have a good time in this matchup, and rather than give the opponent an opportunity to get a bunch of energy, I'm just going to swap into my Blastoise, where at least I'm resisting the bullet punches, and they're going to have to throw a Trailblaze if they want to do any meaningful damage here. But the opponent does go and attempt to make a catch swap on their Furret, which I would have been fine with that energy landing anyway. Now I have to make a decision, and I think the right one is made here. I think I need to go for Switch Advantage, because I would much rather be able to put my Corviknight against the Scizor here. Now, we'll see what the opponent comes back in with. They're going to come in, of course, with an Azumarill. I had half thought that they were going to come in with the Scizor that had loaded energy, try to fire off a move before my Blastoise could do anything about it, and that is not what they did. So I misread that very much, but I'm going to go for a Skull Bash now and look to try to get my defense up, and, I mean, it's not going to matter. They're going to be able to knock me out with a charge move anyway, but I'm looking to try to at least do some damage to this Azumarill, because this is going to be a problem. I don't really have anywhere for my Pangoro to go here, which is kind of awkward, so I'm going to put it here against the Azumarill, and I'm going to just try to look to go for a move, but the opponent gets to one much quicker. They overfarm quite a lot here, and they have a play rough, and, yeah.
Boom!
that just deletes his whole health bar, and now I have to try and see if I can get Corviknight to get through the rest of this Azumarill and the Scizor in the back. We're going to be just looking to go for air cutters here and hope and pray. That's all I can do at this point, unfortunately. But we are going to be looking to continue to play this out. We're just going to see the opponent comes in with their Scizor. We get an attack boost, which is really nice. The opponent here is going to go for a charge move. Night Slash will not do enough to knock out, so I don't have to shield it. And it's going to be close to two-shotting, and they have. They got the boost, of course. So, yay. Anyway, opponent gets a Night Slash boost. They get a boost of their own, rather. And at this point, I think that's just it. I don't know that I had a chance there either way. They had two moves, which was going to force me to probably shield one, and the bullet punches that came after. But man, made it as close as I could. That was a rough game anyway, considering Pangoro had absolutely nowhere to go. Good game to the opponent. Well played. So that was 2-3-2 sets. The first one was like a learning set, and I had a bunch of like weird, it just wasn't worth showing. And then this set here, which was the 3-2. Now the second set of this video, the third set that I played, 4-1. Good stuff here. We have a Gastrodon on the lead. We're going to go in full send to close combat and look to go into Blastoise here to absorb some energy. Most Gastrodons I would have expected to be on Body Slam and Water Pulse, but you bet your Tookus I found the one and only one with Earth Power today. Yes, I did. And they're going to send it. And now I'm going to no shield this because I think I know this is a Body Slam and I like never want to shield a Body Slam, but I realize I'm too low, and they're going to be able to knock me out with this Mud Slap. So if the opponent shields, they're getting switch advantage, and that's kind of dangerous, considering I have a Pangoro. They probably have a Fairy of some sort in the back. So I'm going to come in with Pangoro, get a little bit of energy, see where it takes me. I still have two shields. They have a Charizard, because, of course, it's a good play. I love Charizard, dude. Charizard's fun. And it would make sense for a flyer to be behind the Gastrodon in one shape or another. The opponent, however, going to get the air cutter boost off these embers. I'm going to full send to close combat, see how much damage this does, because the opponent doesn't want to have to shield this. You bet they don't. And now we're going to go for the Night Slash and look to immediately switch into the Corviknight now. Because they're so low, I should hopefully be able to air cutter, sand attack down before they can get to a blast burn if they're full sending here, which they do, thank goodness. Now the opponent comes in with an Empoleon. It's a Shadow Empoleon, and that actually is a good thing here because Shadow Empoleon cannot take the payback plus the sand attacks that come after, and that's going to mean we're going to be able to take this game pretty nicely here. Payback, I could have overfarmed there as well to get to the air cutter sooner against the Charizard, but I know I'm going to get some farm after this, and I figured I would just go ahead and, just go ahead and throw the payback and get the farm after, because that actually, I do know how much damage that does, and it doesn't quite knock out, but we get farm, we get the air cutter off, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to the opponent. Next game, though, we got Pangoro up on the lead here against a Guzzlord, and this is a nice lead for really the whole team except for Blastoise. Blastoise is pretty neutral, but the opponent's going to bring in a Gastrodon, and I make a bit of an error here. I completely screw up my timing, and they get to a Body Slam before I'm able to do anything, and I'm going to go ahead and shield this up here, leaving my Pangoro healthy enough to handle whatever may come its way, because Guzzlord's going to have to get to a big move in order to do anything of meaningful damage to my Pangoro. I can now bring in my Corviknight, which arguably I could have brought in the Corviknight regardless, a little bit sooner, but I really wanted to get the close combat damage off. I just poorly timed it because I need to generate some sort of an advantage. If I'm not mistaken, Corviknight actually loses to Water Pulse Gastrodon in even shields, so I needed to be able to get that difference made up with either a shield or some health. So Pangoro is going to come back in here pretty quickly after I can get to this air cutter here, try and do a little bit of shift damage just to try and wait out the switch timer. I don't want to give the Guzzlord time to get to another move, so I'm going to come now in with Pangoro. The opponent going to get to a charge move here. This is only a Brutal Swing, and I know it, because that's only 3 Dragon Tails they've been throwing right away. So Brutal Swing, not going to do very much damage. I'm going to go up to 2 close combats and look to full send here, see if the opponent wants to shield one and take the other, or if they want to just take it. They're going to take it on the chin. Guzzlord going to go down, and I didn't even care what came in after this. I'm going to go ahead and full send to close combat. The opponent brings in Shadow Scizor. It's going to get the shield. And now we have Blastoise to be able to handle this. I just have to make sure they don't catch on me. That's kind of the only thing here. So the opponent looking to go for a move here. That's going to be the Trailblaze. They're getting to it right now. And I now just have to go up to 2 Hydro Cannons before I throw. The opponent does not decide to swap out and get the catch. And you know what that means, trainers? That's going to be heavy damage from a Hydro Cannon. Yes, it is. And now the Gastrodon comes in. Is going to have to take a Hydro Cannon to the face. And that's going to be a good game. All right, next game up here, we got Pangoro on the lead versus a Kanto Marowak. Once again, seeing this thing up here is nice. We're going to be going for the same play we made last time. Go for the Night Slash on good timing. See if we can't fish a shield off the opponent. But they actually decide to just go ahead and throw regardless, right when they get the Bone Club. And I'm going to go for the Night Slash now. See if I can't get a shield back from the opponent. We have a lot of energy to play with here if we need to. The opponent, no shielding as well. And then they're going to come in with a Togekiss. So I'm not only a shield down here, but I'm also in a very uncomfortable position and wishing I'd brought in my Blastoise. Because Blastoise can at least do super effective with the rollouts. This is a tough matchup for this Corviknight to deal with. Now, truly, Blastoise is always taking neutral damage here too, which is fine. But the opponent, maybe fearing the Iron Head, I don't know. Or they're saying, I'm winning Switch no matter what. Because Togekiss should win this matchup, absolutely. We're going to be going for another Air Cutter here. We did get boosted. The opponent, maybe, I mean, they're not shielding us again, right? No, they're double shielding and they want Switch advantage. I get 2 boosts here, and the opponent's going to catch on the Marowak anyway. And that's fine with me, because now Blastoise gets to handle that thing, and I get to keep it very far away from my Pangoro. Now, the opponent did just switch out, so I'm thinking if I see the Togekiss, I'm going to immediately switch into my Blastoise, because I should be able to knock it out with a Hydro Cannon before it can get to a... before they can swap out. They throw a Psyshock to try and mess with my head, because now they're going to throw an Aura Sphere, and I'm going to shield up this move. Maybe they were just seeing how much damage it did. I don't know, but the opponent does have an Empoleon in the back, and unfortunately, I was not able to throw in time. Uh-oh. Hydro Cannon is going to do some damage here. I'm going to go ahead and just keep farming up, try and get some damage off on this thing, but the opponent throws immediately. They do not care about timing. They just want to be able to get the charge move off. I respect it, but that allows me to come in with Pangoro and immediately farm up to 4 more Karate Chops, just to make sure we get as much energy and give the opponent as little farm as possible. Close Combat's going to knock out the Empoleon. We're going to hit a Night Slash off against the Togekiss, and I'm pretty sure the opponent is not at a charge move, and I just have to make sure that they aren't going to be able to make it there. We do have the move loaded and ready to go here, and immediately going to throw it. I was like, I don't think that I think they needed 3 more, and they had 2, so they were not at the move. Hydro Cannon is going to knock out the Togekiss and take the game. Well played to the opponent. Next game, Pangoro looking to make something happen against a Oranguru of all things. This is one of those XAB leads where people are like running Furret, Scizor. Oranguru is apparently one of the new ones here. And this is a positive matchup for Pangoro. However, if they can land a Trailblaze, it's going to be uncomfortable. And so what I'm actually going to do here is I am going to go ahead and shield up a Trailblaze potentially, because I know that if I need to, I can get rid of this thing with energy to spare. Honestly, if they want to put up a shield, then that's fine with me. They may be just looking to go and let this, they might be just looking to let this go and take shield advantage, which they do. And in comes a Turtonator, by the way. Some spice from this opponent. Maybe they're practicing for the LAIC meta, because these are 2 Pokemon. They're going to be very likely a part of this format. But unfortunately, in the Open Great League, you're going to be met with things like Blastoise and Pangoro, which probably won't provide the right level of practice that you're probably looking for. I should have gone for the Skull Bash here, by the way. Hydro Cannon's only neutral, and I will not get the knockout. Turtonator is just a little bit too healthy, and so I'm going to shield up the Blastoise. I'm expecting at this point that my opponent may not be able to deal with the energy from the Blastoise, and they have a Dugong in the back. So definitely looks like an LAIC practice team, which I'm actually really excited to see how our first limited format doesn't play Pokemon. But we have Corviknight, and we should be doing okay here, especially because the opponent lets us get to the Hydro Cannon, which is going to do some decent chip damage here, and the opponent is actually going to shield it, which is awesome, by the way. Just really helpful, because now we have Corviknight with all the bulk it needs to be able to get to an Air Cutter if it needs to. I'm going to go for 1 Karate Chop, go for the dip into Corviknight just for a little bit of damage, make them want to throw that energy, and then we're going to come in with Corviknight. Now, the attack did go down at this point, though. I can absolutely afford to overfarm, and I was fully honed in on the payback button because I actually completely forgot the Turtonator was still around. I thought it was knocked out. The opponent makes a very nice catch, but unfortunately, the Dugong is just a little bit too low. Air Cutter comes out from Corviknight despite being debuffed here, and it's going to be enough to get the knockout. Well played to the opponent. All right, next game, we got Pangoro on the lead versus Fearow. Uh-oh, this isn't a great lead. I'm going to go straight to Blastoise in this case, though, and look to try and force him to swap out, and they bring in a Unova Stunfisk, and so, okay, I'm thinking I've seen this line before. It's the Inadequence trio. It could be perhaps a, what was he running? I can't remember what he's running in the bag. There's been a couple of things I've been told. I've heard, I know it wasn't Dusclops, but anyway. Dugong, that's right, it was Dugong. There it is. I'm back. I came back mentally, took a break, came back. All right. This charge is not going to be enough. I do know that from prior experience. I just didn't want them to be able to land 2. With all this energy, I should be able to easily get the knockout, or I mean, I was going to take a knockout. I'm glad to see the U-Fist gone, but the opponent come back in with the Pharaoh. I was like, I'm either going to get a shield back, 2 shields potentially, if they had thrown right away, or I was just going to end up getting switched, which I did. But Pharaoh's going to shield that up, but I guess I have to come in with Corviknight at this point, and the opponent has a Charizard. Like, I make the read that in the moment, I made the read that it was Dugong, okay? Or that it was like Dusclops or something, right? Like one of those Pokemon that I'm familiar with, they happen to be weak to Pangoro, and so I'm going to save it. Nope, opponent completely gets me in shambles here with their Charizard. So, now Corviknight's going to need to be able to land an Air Cutter here, and the opponent is actually on Dragon Breath. So, I'm going to be looking to try and get this farm down, please, please, please. Not quite able to get there. I'm shielding up what could be a Blast Burn, and now... oh, I need a payback against this Pharaoh. The opponent has a lot of energy, and they're going to go ahead and throw it here. I can't shield anything, but at least it's all resisted. Drill Peck number 1, going to do quite a bit. The opponent gets to another charge move here, and I don't remember exactly how much energy the Charizard had. I don't know if they have enough to get to the Blast Burn or not. I try to go for a bit of an overfarm to get as close as possible to that Air Cutter before I can get this knockout, but the Pharaoh lives so close with like 3 HP. It's going to be able to get the knockout here on my Corviknight. We were very close to being able to take that game, but the opponent played it very well. And the payback was not quite enough. Fraudulent bird alert, Corviknight. But we pick up a nice 4-1 set here to end, and apparently I forgot to cut out the Pokemon being caught, but it's all right. Anyway, 2604. I'm in the mid 2600s now with this team. It's been a really nice little run. Hopefully, I mean, I'd love to see you guys have success with Pangoro. I feel like sometimes it's one of those Pokemon that's like you just go on a good run with it because you just happen to, but it really genuinely feels good into this meta right now. Like Darks are really doing a lot of work taking out these ghosts, and I feel like Pangoro is probably one of the best ones to be able to use. You guys could try the back line of your choice though with this team. Like, you know, this one is completely weak to Dedenne and Talonflame. It's just like some really awkward things that you're going to see. But overall, the team did really well. I'd love to hear your comments in the thoughts in the comments. And yeah, try it out and see what happens. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.